If you are still holding out hope for a happy reunion next week between Curtis Ashford and Portia Robinson, I am here to tell you to prepare for a brutal, soul-crushing heartbreak. For months, we have watched these two dance around their fractured marriage, with many of you desperately wishing they would finally find their way back to each other. But the reality of what is coming is far more sinister than a simple marital disagreement. We are standing on the precipice of a total catastrophe, and the man holding the match to burn it all down is none other than Dr. Isaiah Gannon. If you think Isaiah is just going to walk away and let Curtis live happily ever after, you have not been paying attention to the dark, calculating glint in his eye. The stage is set for a devastating downfall, and the trap that is currently being laid will not just end a marriage, it will destroy lives, shatter a family, and leave Port Charles reeling for years to come. Let us dive deep into the domino effect of this impending disaster, guys, because what we are witnessing is the birth of a truly masterful, albeit terrifying, manipulative scheme. Isaiah Gannon is not a man who forgives and forgets. We are talking about a brilliant surgeon, a man whose entire identity, livelihood, and ego are tied directly to the steady precision of his hands. When Curtis Ashford assaulted him and caused that severe hand injury, he did not just inflict physical pain, he essentially stripped Isaiah of his life's purpose. The disruption to his surgical career at General Hospital is a wound that cuts far deeper than flesh and bone. But the true catalyst for this impending explosion is not just professional ruin. It is deeply, intensely personal. Isaiah has been watching Portia closely, and he sees exactly what we all see. Despite the anger, despite the separation, Portia still deeply cares for her husband. If you ask me, that lingering affection is the ultimate insult to a man like Isaiah. He is standing right there, offering Portia a new path, yet her heart remains tethered to the man who nearly destroyed his career. This toxic cocktail of professional devastation and romantic jealousy is festering inside Isaiah, morphing into a dangerous, hidden agenda. He cannot simply stand by and watch Curtis get away with a mere slap on the wrist. The legal system in Port Charles is notoriously fickle, and the idea of Curtis taking a minor plea deal and serving a short stint in Pentonville is entirely unacceptable to a man out for absolute vengeance. Isaiah wants Curtis to pay with his freedom, his reputation, and most importantly, his future with Portia. He wants to ensure that Curtis is completely eradicated from Portia's life, leaving no room for a miraculous reconciliation. To execute this grand destruction, Isaiah has formed an unholy alliance with one of the most ruthless legal sharks in town, Rick Lansing. We all know Rick's history and his unparalleled ability to twist the law to serve his client's darkest desires. By hiring Rick to handle a potential civil lawsuit and push for maximum criminal penalties, Isaiah has signaled that he is not playing games. He is building a fortress of legal doom around Curtis. But Rick is a lawyer who operates on evidence, and right now, a simple assault charge might not be enough to put Curtis away for a decade. Isaiah knows this. He realizes that to truly lock Curtis behind bars and throw away the key, he needs a fresh, undeniable crime. He needs to prove to the courts and to Portia that Curtis is not just a man who made a one-time mistake, but a violently unstable threat who cannot be rehabilitated. This brings us to the first domino that is about to fall in Isaiah's manipulative scheme. I strongly suspect that Isaiah is not going to wait for the trial to let the chips fall where they may. He is going to take matters into his own hands by intentionally and maliciously provoking Curtis. Think about it, guys. Curtis Ashford is a man who operates on passion and fierce protectiveness. He has a known temper, especially when he feels cornered or when his family is threatened. Isaiah knows exactly which buttons to push to make Curtis lose his mind. I can already picture the scene. A crowded room at the Metro Court, or perhaps an isolated hallway at General Hospital, where Isaiah corners Curtis with a smug, condescending smile. He will not throw a punch. He is far too smart for that. Instead, he will use words as his weapon, striking at Curtis's deepest insecurities. Imagine Isaiah casually mentioning Portia, whispering venomous implications about how she has moved on, how she pities Curtis, or worse, detailing intimate moments that may or may not have happened. Isaiah will twist the knife, mocking Curtis's failures as a husband, a father, and a man. He will taunt Curtis about his impending prison sentence, gloating about how he will be the one to comfort Portia while Curtis rots in a cell. This kind of psychological warfare is designed to bypass all of Curtis's rational thought. The goal is to trigger a blind, uncontrollable rage. Isaiah is betting his entire revenge plot on the fact that Curtis will not be able to walk away from such a blatant, humiliating provocation. He is banking on the vicious cycle of Ashford family trauma to rear its ugly head once again. But here is where the theory takes a truly sinister turn. Isaiah is far too calculating to provoke an attack without a safety net. If Curtis takes the bait and strikes him, it will not just be a random scuffle. I believe Isaiah will have a hidden recording device discreetly capturing every single second of the confrontation. Or, even more diabolical, he will carefully orchestrate the encounter to happen exactly when a key witness is walking by. Imagine if he times the provocation perfectly so that Jordan Ashford or even Trina Robinson turns the corner just in time to see Curtis throw an unprovoked, brutal punch. The optics would be completely damning. An audio recording of Curtis screaming threats, followed by the sounds of a physical assault, would be the absolute holy grail for a lawyer like Rick Lansing. The moment Curtis's fist connects with Isaiah, the second domino falls, and the trap snaps shut with bone-crushing finality. Curtis will realize instantly that he has made a fatal error, but it will be too late. The police will be called, and this time, there will be no sympathetic ear from Dante Falconeri or the PCPD. A second, seemingly unprovoked attack on the same victim, especially a victim who is a respected doctor, will obliterate any chance Curtis had of a lenient plea deal. The narrative will shift instantly. Rick Lansing will parade this new evidence before the judge, painting Curtis as a menace to society who cannot control his violent urges. The judge will have no choice but to revoke any bail or plea agreements, sending Curtis directly to Pentonville to await a trial he is guaranteed to lose. As Curtis is hauled away in handcuffs, the third domino crashes into the heart of his legacy family. Portia Robinson is a woman who has already endured so much emotional whiplash. She has been torn between her lingering love for her husband and her fear of the chaos he brings into her life. When she hears that Curtis has violently attacked Isaiah again, especially if there is audio proof or reliable eyewitness testimony, it will be the final, irreversible nail in the coffin of their marriage. Portia will be horrified. She will not see a man who is manipulated and provoked. She will see a dangerous, out-of-control individual who refuses to learn from his mistakes. Isaiah's manipulative scheme will have worked flawlessly, severing the emotional bond between Portia and Curtis forever. And we absolutely cannot forget about Trina in all of this. Trina Robinson is already at her breaking point, desperately demanding that her parents stop making her the center of their endless drama. She is trying to focus on her premiere, her music, and her blossoming future with Giovanni Palmieri. The news of Curtis's second brutal attack on Isaiah will shatter her fragile peace. If Trina happens to be the orchestrated witness to the assault, the trauma will be unimaginable. She will be forced to testify against her own father figure, caught in a vicious cycle of loyalty and truth. Isaiah's revenge will not just destroy Curtis, it will cause massive collateral damage, traumatizing a young woman who has already faced far too many tragedies in her short life. With Curtis locked away for years and Portia thoroughly disgusted by her husband's actions, Isaiah will step into the void as the ultimate victor. He will play the role of the noble, suffering victim to absolute perfection. He will offer Portia his seemingly unconditional support, comforting her through the divorce proceedings and the emotional fallout. Portia, blinded by her own grief and betrayal, will likely lean heavily on Isaiah, completely unaware that the man holding her is the very architect of her family's destruction. It is a chilling thought, guys. The idea that a respected doctor could orchestrate such a vile, multi-layered plot just to satisfy his own bruised ego and romantic jealousy is the stuff of classic soap opera nightmares. But let us explore another fascinating angle of this theory. What happens when you invite a shark like Rick Lansing into your hidden agenda? Rick is brilliant, but he is nobody's fool. While he will gladly take Isaiah's money to prosecute Curtis, Rick has a knack for sniffing out deception. What if Rick discovers the recording device? What if he realizes that his client intentionally provoked the attack to manufacture evidence? Rick's moral compass is famously skewed, but he also hates being manipulated. If Rick figures out that Isaiah's playing him, he might just turn the tables. Rick could subtly leak the truth to Alexis Davis or even Jordan Ashford, setting up a secondary explosion that could completely derail Isaiah's flawless plan. The unholy alliance between Isaiah and Rick is a ticking time bomb, and it is only a matter of time before one of them betrays the other. And what if there is an even deeper secret regarding Isaiah's hand injury? We have been told that his surgical career is in jeopardy, but what if Isaiah is exaggerating the extent of the permanent damage? What if his hand is healing far better than he lets on, and he is maintaining the facade of a crippled surgeon solely to maximize the legal and emotional damage against Curtis? If Portia, being a brilliant doctor herself, starts looking too closely at his medical charts, or notices him using his hand with unexpected dexterity when he thinks no one is watching, the entire house of cards could come crashing down. A medical deception of that magnitude would instantly open Portia's eyes to the monster standing beside her. Regardless of how the secrets eventually unravel, the immediate future for Curtis Ashford looks incredibly bleak. He is walking directly into a minefield, completely unaware that his enemy has mapped out every single step. Isaiah Gannon has transformed from a victim into a predator, using the legal system, psychological warfare, and Portia's own heart as weapons of mass destruction. Curtis is a fighter, but how do you fight an enemy who uses your own temper against you? How do you defend yourself when the evidence, carefully manufactured and perfectly timed, clearly shows you as the aggressor? The upcoming weeks are going to be a masterclass in manipulation, and I fear that our beloved Ashford family is going to be torn to absolute shreds before the truth ever sees the light of day. The dominoes are lined up, the trap is set, and Isaiah is just waiting for the perfect moment to strike the match. We are about to witness the spectacular downfall of Curtis Ashford, orchestrated by a man who smiles to his face while plotting his absolute ruin. Will Curtis realize he is being played before he throws that fateful, life-destroying punch? Or will Isaiah's brilliant, twisted revenge succeed, locking Curtis in a cage and claiming Portia as his ultimate prize?